This thing is so Star Wars, and I don't mean that in a bad way. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania stars Paul Rudd, Evangeline Lilly, Jonathan Majors, Michael Douglas, and Michelle Pfeiffer. It tells the story of Scott, Hope, Hank, and Janet Van Dyne exploring the quantum realm where they interact with strange creatures and embark on an adventure that goes beyond the limits of what they thought was possible. Now, going into this movie, I was looking forward to it, as like most of you, I am a pretty big fan of the MCU. Even though the MCU has had a bit of a hard time as of recently trying to recapture the magic of the movies of Phase 1, 2, and 3. I will continuously show up for each of their new projects, and I am a fan of the Ant-Man movies. They're fun escapism. And I think Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is a movie that is just that. It's a fun escapism kind of adventure, diving deep into more sci-fi heavy stuff within the MCU. Not particularly a great movie, but one that I enjoyed. Before we get more into my in-depth thoughts on this movie, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you enjoy the rest of this video, and comment down below what are your thoughts or expectations for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. But let's keep talking about it. Now, in terms of characters in this movie, Paul Rudd, Evangeline Lilly, they're all good, but I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about Jonathan Majors. And this is his first big role in the MCU. I know he has previously appeared in Loki, but now he is cementing himself as the new big bad of the MCU moving forward. And while I definitely do want to learn more about King, which I'm sure is going to come in the future, his performance as King is menacing. Like everyone has been saying, he is a presence that you are scared of. If you were to see him walking in the hallways or just looking at you right in front of you, dead straight in the eyes, I think you would all, like me, start to get very nervous because he just does a great job of conveying such menacing energy towards you. His performance is a mixture of subtlety with rage. I think on all ends he delivers. He's just continuing to show that he is a force to be reckoned with when it comes to being just an actor. And the other character that I thoroughly enjoyed and definitely want to see more of is MODOK. Without getting into specifics in case you don't know who the character is and who is portraying him, the look of MODOK, it's a choice. You might be asking me, how do you want MODOK to look? And to which I would tell you, I don't really know how they could have done a better job. It's just a hard character to portray on a movie screen and try to make him not look so visual effects heavy and look just kind of ugly. Because the character of MODOK is just visual effects. But without getting into spoilers, I like where they took the character. I hope this isn't the last that we see of him. I think there's more in store for him. Because there is some depth to this character that they hint at and that kind of goes into his arc of the entire movie, but I think there is more to explore. Another thing I enjoyed about this movie is it is, like I mentioned, a very Star Wars-esque, sci-fi heavy entry in the MCU. Now as we're starting to dive into the quantum realm sort of things, tackling a different area of the universe that we haven't really touched on before, you can clearly tell that Peyton Reed is a huge Star Wars fan, specifically in character designs of these creatures in the quantum realm. Also, there are elements in this movie of rebellion, which I know that's not just a Star Wars thing, but Kang being like a threat to an almost galaxy of sorts. It's hard to not look back on what this movie did well taking from Star Wars. I'm not complaining about that. This movie was dealt a difficult task because it is the starter of Phase 5. And that does mean that it's going to have to set up a lot of following projects. Whether that be just in its overall story and specific elements of what happens throughout the movie, or also the end credit scenes, which I'll quickly touch on. I think they were fun, worth staying obviously for. Other than that, there's not too much about them. Out of the most recent projects in the MCU, this one definitely had more amounts of setup. You're obviously setting up a big bad for the next phase, and for movies to come further than Phase 5 and Phase 6. It almost feels like one of those mid-season episodes of a TV show where you're kind of cutting away, learning more about something, a plotline that's going to go on later, or currently has bigger ties to the end. And you're taking just a quick break to go through that adventure, which it's not an adventure that's boring per se, but I don't know if it's much more than a fun adventure. Because it's a movie that lacks substance in its story. There's not much depth to it, you know how it's gonna go, it's fairly by the numbers. Especially for the characters, I didn't really feel for them all that much in this movie. And just in general, I didn't really feel that many emotions watching it. And I also thought visually this movie just looks very meh, almost ugly, but it's an unfortunate situation because this is a movie that is basically 90% green screen and obviously visual effects galore. So it looks very artificial in a sense, but again, that's to be expected. I think what I really want in terms of character development moving forward, give us more of Scott and Hope, but more specifically, the relationship between the two characters. I think it's a relationship that feels like it needs more fleshing out, especially if I'm going to buy into them as a couple, because there's not much chemistry between the two actors, which is unfortunate. But I think if there was a little more to the writing, it could help. But as a whole, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is an enjoyable adventure. I think if you're a fan of sci-fi, there's a lot about this that you might actually find yourself loving. The two characters in particular that I would definitely want to see more of and were big standouts were Kang and MODOK. The story lacks depth, and the movie as a whole, there's not much substance to it. I'm probably going to forget about it a couple months from now. It's just going to be one of those good MCU movies. I'm going to give Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania a B. I don't know if there's any real need for hate for this movie. It's not terrible by any means, but it's not great. It falls somewhere in between. But once again, I want to know your thoughts on Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Make sure to let me know down below in the comment section. What did you think of it? I want to thank you so much for watching this review. And again, if you did enjoy it, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, plus the notification bell so you don't miss any further videos. And as always, look forward to more videos and reviews coming soon. My name is Ben, people call me Meter, and I'll see you guys in the next one.